What's going on, guys? It's Joey. Today I want to talk about a problem that us in America, and I know it's a problem around the world, but especially in America, we have a problem with child obesity, and not just child obesity, but obesity in general. And it really all goes back to when we were children. So first I'm going to start out with my story, why I gained so much weight. That's going to play the role of the root problem here in America. And then I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the solution to the problem that we have here in America so that you or your children in the future or your children now can be prevented from a lifelong process of trying to lose weight. Because if we can go back to the root of the problem, then none of us would have to lose weight. So stick around for the root problem of this epidemic. It is absolutely horrible, and it really is an epidemic. And then I'm gonna go into the solution of this epidemic. This video is pretty much a PSA for childhood obesity, as well as if you're already obese, then to prevent that and get over that and what the root problem was so that we can fix that and not have that problem again.
My name is Joey Saavedra, and I lost over 100 pounds in less than 1 year. Subscribe to my channel for legitimate weight loss advice and tricks.
So how did I used to eat as a kid? I used to eat whenever my parents told me that I could eat, or whenever it was time to eat, or whenever I wanted to eat. And this is really a problem because I didn't see eating the way I should have seen eating. I would eat all the time. So of course I had my breakfast, I had my lunch and my dinner, but typically all three of those meals were way unhealthy. And it's not necessarily a ton of junk food, but let's say for breakfast it would be like waffles or a lot of bacon, of course some eggs, maybe a glass of orange juice, which is not really that good. Lunches would be often, eating out, going out to say McDonald's or Taco Bell or just something quick to get, because unless we kind of had food prepared at home, which we normally didn't do for lunch, it would be go out and get maybe Carl's Jr. or a burger from Carl's Jr. or something. Same thing with dinner. We would go out to eat all the time, or we would stay home and we would have like potatoes, steak, but they weren't normal portions. Like, they were very big portions. So that's how I used to eat as a kid. You have to remember that kids are very impressionable. So a kid cannot really, like, up until they're 18, I would say until they're 18, that is a kid, cannot think for themselves. They don't have that experience, they don't have that mental capacity, and that's why we have parents to guide us. Let's talk about how I viewed eating, how I saw eating itself. I saw eating, and I know almost probably every single one of you guys watching this has probably seen eating the same exact way if you don't see that now. I used to view eating as just eating just to eat. Eating just because I was hungry, or eating just because it was readily available. Just because food is readily available, you can go to the kitchen, you can go over to the store, you can go out and buy a burger. It's so readily available. I never really thought about why I was eating or what I was eating and how that could affect me as a person. I realized that that is a very big problem because not a lot of people view eating how they should be viewing eating. You see, food is just a source of energy. So food is fuel. And if you're going out and eating McDonald's, is that going to fuel your body? No. Is it going to stuff your hunger? Probably. But you can say that about almost anything. So if there's no nutritional value in the foods that you're eating, yes, it is going to curb your hunger. But that is not the goal of eating. And I'm not just talking about my personal preference, I'm talking about us as humans and human nature. Think about it. Back when we were like hunters and gatherers, we would go a few days without eating because it wasn't readily available. We didn't have food right there. We had to go out every single day to go hunt and bring back food. And if you didn't catch food or you didn't bring back enough food for the village or the tribe, people were not gonna eat. And they couldn't just eat each other. They didn't, I'm sure they didn't just eat their horses or whatever. They had to go out, and it wasn't as readily available. And so now that it's so readily available, we've been numbed. Our minds have been numbed and programmed to just eat whenever, and all these marketing like, oh, come into McDonald's, like it's only $1. Go, you go grocery shopping, you bring back food, you go downstairs and you have a fridge full of food. It's so readily available, and it's an addiction. If you have it right in front of you, you're probably going to eat it. So think about what if we today had to go out and shop for our food by the day. We probably wouldn't be eating as much food on a daily basis, because it wouldn't be so readily available. If you didn't have any food in your house and you had to go out and eat, or go out and hunt your food and bring it back, you would probably be eating a lot less calories. You probably wouldn't be eating 10,000 calories or even 5,000 calories. You would probably be eating around 2,000 to 3,000 calories like max, and one day, and then the next couple days you might not eat at all. So really just figuring out that food is not just food. Like it's just because it's readily available and society has made it readily available. That's the problem that we're having, is because it's so easy to get to, it's so easy to access. So start imagining food as fuel. Is this apple going to curb my hunger, or is it going to give me fuel? Well, I can tell you right now that an apple is almost all carbs. So it's going to give you a boost of energy. I heard like one apple can give you like the same amount of energy as like a cup of coffee or something. I'm not too sure. I do know that if you're like super hungry and you eat an apple, you're going to be energized. It's only a certain amount of calories, like 80 calories or something. But if you go out to McDonald's and you buy like a little hamburger, that's gonna be like 200 or 300 calories. You're not gonna feel as energized. You're not gonna have as much nutrient benefits. So switch your mind into thinking that, is this food fuel? Or am I just eating this food just because it tastes good, it's available, I want to eat it, temptations? And so this plays into the thoughtless habits that I started to form throughout my life, was that I didn't think about these, so it was super thoughtless, and I didn't even realize, like, we have it so readily available, but us as humans in nature, like, that is not how it's supposed to be. Obesity is a byproduct of this being a thing. So obviously once you have a bad habit, you know, if you start smoking and that's a bad habit, then it's really addicting, and it's hard to curb that habit and form a new habit or better habit. So just realize that all of us have been programmed to a bad habit when it comes to eating and our health and everything, is we don't think about it enough, and that's why we're suffering, and that's why you have to lose weight. You wouldn't be spending your time on YouTube trying to learn how to lose weight, the best exercise, go to the gym, if you were not programmed like that. And some of us, it's worse than others. I had to lose over 100 pounds. You know, some people go their whole life without having to lose weight, because sometimes because of genetics, but mostly because of the way they eat. You know, like if you look at a skinny person, chances are they're probably not going to be eating 5,000-6,000 calories for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years at a time. When I was, you know, a child, I was eating that many calories so consistently, and then gradually I started to gain all that weight. So really, when you look at people and how they eat, you are what you eat. Like, you look like what you eat. So when I realized that I had this bad habit, when I actually opened my eyes and, you know, I realized, like, okay, I'm stop making excuses. Like, I'm not big because of football, I'm not big because of this, I'm not, you know, I'm bigger than everyone at my school for some reason. And I accepted it, and I thought about it, and I said, I have a bad habit that I need to like fix or work on, or it's just going to keep on progressing through. You know, if I kept eating how I did as a kid, that got me to how I looked when I was in high school. If I keep eating how I was in high school, going into college, it's going to be exponentially worse. So it only makes sense that you have to wake up at some point and realize that you have a bad habit, and then you have to do something about it. So at the end of high school is when I realized that I had this bad habit. You know, throughout all of high school, of course, I had my insecurities. I knew I was the biggest person, but I didn't really think about it. I never imagined myself as a smaller person, so that was me. That's what I identified as, was that big guy. I realized that I had a bad habit and that I wanted to change when I really, really, really wanted to change. So once I really wanted to change, it got so much easier to open my eyes and say, I shouldn't even be like this. Like, maybe there's someone inside me that I should be. And lo and behold, there is. Like, there's an amazing person underneath all of that fat and all of that life that I was identifying myself as. So what I did to start changing my bad habit when I very first started to actually change, and I wanted to change, is I started very slow. I didn't just jump head in. I started very slow. What did I do? I cut out sodas. I was drinking sodas with almost every dinner, and then maybe like a can or something, or like juice or whatever. I cut out everything. I literally just cut out everything except water. And that alone made such a big difference within a month or 2 months. Cut out all that stuff. It's going to clear up your face, your internals, all your organs are going to be operating better. You're going to feel better. You're going to look better because you're not going to be as fat. And I was just cutting out like sodas, and then I didn't really know about macros. I didn't know about creating customized meal plans, which really hones in and targets your fat loss, and you can control how much you're going to lose and how fast you're going to lose it. I didn't know about any of that stuff. I just started making healthier kind of conscious choices, like cutting out soda, eating healthier. I didn't really know like how much I should be eating, because if you do eat healthy, you can still like gain weight if you're eating too many calories, obviously. So instead of going out to eat for lunch or whatever, you know, I would stay home and I would have my mom go out and buy groceries, and I'd say, you know, just get a bunch of healthy stuff and I'll work with it. So she said, okay, snacks and stuff. Snacks kill you. Snacks absolutely kill you. You don't think snacks kill you because they're such small portions. Like you'll have a little granola bar, or you'll have like 2 of them, or you'll have like a snack here and there, but at the end of the day, if you add up all your snacks, it's probably gonna add up to a complete 4th meal. So after I started just drinking water, then I would supplement snacks with like celery and peanut butter, but you know, if you eat a ton of peanut butter, that's a ton of fat. So be conscious about how much peanut butter you eat. And I love peanut butter, and I'm sure a lot of you guys love peanut butter too, but peanut butter is like dense with fat. Do not confuse peanut butter for a protein. That is not a good source of protein, because you will get 3 times more fat from that than protein, which 1 gram of fat is over twice the amount of calories in 1 gram of fat than per 1 gram of protein. So just beware of that. If you're eating like a ton of peanut butter every day, that's going to really up your calories for the day. And really just making health conscious choices. It just started slowly, just started eating healthier and being consistent with it. So now we're gonna get to the part of the video where you guys are probably looking forward to most, and that is, what is the problem? The problem is parents and influential adults that are in a child's life. Because if you as a parent are eating, you know, just whatever you want, you know, you're making your income, you earned it, you used to eat like crap because you didn't have the money, but now you've got some income, you're living the healthy, or you're living the awesome life, whatever. You know, you go out to eat because you earned it, you go out for some drinks because you earned it, you know, like it doesn't really matter, but you don't realize how influential that is on a child. And you might not be the same because you might have formed different habits, so you see it differently. But to that kid, it becomes so normalized. It becomes so normalized to eat so much food and eat so bad that the thought of health and healthy and looking good doesn't even cross their mind once in their life, until you get to the end of high school and you finally realize that you gotta change something. So if you can prevent your kid, or if you can prevent yourself from having to live a life, especially me, like had I looked like this in high school, I would have had a much better high school experience. I know that for sure. So parents and you as an adult, whenever you're around kids and stuff, like you have to realize they don't think for themselves. Like they are literally a byproduct of the actions and the words that the people around them say, their environment, for at least like the first 10-15 years, until they start to get like 18, more into adulthood, and they start to figure out things for their own. But really, they're not free thinkers, that they're not born to be like that. So what do I recommend that parents and influential adults do to avoid childhood obesity, to avoid your child getting too fat, too big, or whatever? Or if you want to fix this yourself because you're obese and you want to lose weight, you have to realize that there is a root problem. And it's not the child. The child is not to blame at all. Not at all. You have to step up and you have to be a leader. You cannot follow. You cannot wait. You have to be a leader. If you don't want your child to be obese, you have to make the change. You cannot tell them. You cannot make them eat something. You have to be the one that's working out 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 days a week, eating consistently healthy foods in a caloric maintenance at the very least, and you have to just walk the walk. You can't just talk the talk. You have to step up and be that leader for your child. Let me get something clear. Just because you are a human just like the rest of us and you have the ability to have a child, that does not mean that every person on this earth should bring a child into the world. Because there are times in your life and our lives, we can't bear a child, and people don't realize that. Like, just because you have the ability to create a human does not mean you should. So until you get all of your stuff together, don't bring that child into this world, or they're gonna start forming the bad habits that you have not fixed in yourself, and you're going to ruin that person, which is your loved child, for the rest of their life. Because you made the decision to have a child and you just weren't ready for that yet. So be a leader. Be a leader when it comes to studying and learning. Be a leader when it comes to, you know, reading books and having fun, and be a leader when it comes to being healthy. Be that example. Now, what I want to recommend to people that are obese already, or that are obese right now, that want to lose weight and they're not a kid anymore or whatever, start just like I started. Just start. Start with something. Cut out all the juices, all the sugary drinks. Just drink water. Make that your first challenge, is to start drinking water, and then track that, and every single day that you go with just drinking water, you know, get a tick or maybe, you know, like reward yourself with something, I don't know. But just start with something small. It could be water, or if you're already drinking water, make the next step. What's the next step? Well, is to start eating healthy. Okay, well, you're already eating healthy. What's the next step? Is to learn more about being precise with your health. Why are these foods healthy? And like what nutrition is coming from these carrots? What's coming from these apples? What's coming from these eggs? And why are they like, why? What's going on? You know, learn, keep learning, and learn how to create your own custom meal plan so that you understand fully what you are eating and how it's gonna give you energy, how it's gonna benefit you, how it's gonna lose you weight, or if you wanted to make it so you gain weight, you don't just start packing on fat. So the biggest thing that you should take away from this video is to start. Just start now. If you have a kid and you see that they're having bad habits, start to be that leader for them today. If you're already big, if you're already obese, then start your change today. Say, I'm sick of this. It doesn't have to be all in. You don't have to be all in, because when you go all in super quickly and you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get overwhelmed and you're just gonna stop completely. So start with something small. Start with just drinking water. I carry a gallon of water everywhere I go, so I know how much I'm drinking throughout the day, but also so I have something readily available. If I'm thirsty and I don't have water next to me, I'm gonna grab what's closest to me. It could be a cup of milk, it could be a glass of orange juice, it could be whatever. So for me personally, I just keep a gallon of water here, and that just does the trick. I don't drink anything else. Okay, on the weekends and stuff, whatever, sometimes I'll have a drink. And you know, if I go out to dinner, which is very rare now, I will have like a Sprite, maybe. Usually it's water. So I still do drink stuff in moderation, but 99% of the time I am okay, I'm good. Which is good because it gives me the energy, it gives me the body I want, and I can still eat the foods that I want whenever I want, because I know that 99% of the time I'm going to be eating okay. So if I want to eat an entire large pizza one day, I can do that because I know the next day and then the following 3 or 4 or 5 days, I'm gonna be on track with my health and everything's gonna be okay. So if the majority of your life is eating healthy and doing good, then it's okay to have those things. But if a majority of the time you're eating junk and you're not tracking your macros, you're just eating terrible diet, then you need to start getting healthy. And then every once in a while, and then don't look at these things as a treat. Just say, oh, you know, like I've been craving pizza, or I've been craving sushi. Go out and have sushi. Fill that craving, and then a couple weeks later, you can go get sushi again, or you can get a pizza or whatever. Just realize that how consistent you are is going to be how fast you progress. If you're consistent with your health for 1 day out of 7 days in a week, you're going to see the results of only doing that 1 day. If you up that to, like, let's say 2 or 3, you're going to slowly start to progress a little bit faster. If you instantly jump straight in and say 7 out of 7 days I'm gonna eat my perfect meal plan, my macros, everything, you're going to see absolute change, absolute change. So it really all just depends on how consistent you are with everything. Do not blame anybody but yourself on how hard you work and how dedicated you are, because no one wants your weight loss goal. No one wants that dream body. No one wants that wife. No one wants that husband. No one wants that big house or that car as bad as you do. So no one's going to put in the work for you except for you, and you have to realize that you're gonna change yourself or you're not. It's that simple. So I hope you guys took something away from this video. If you did, I want to hear what your thoughts are down below. Please consider subscribing to my channel and dropping a like on this video, because I want people to really understand this and wake up their minds, because we've all been programmed and it's not fair to us that we stay programmed. We can unprogram our minds and see the world how it's supposed to be viewed, and not how the big McDonald's corporations pound us because they want our money. They're making us so unhealthy by reprogramming our brain with all these ads and stuff. Oh, it's only $1. That's not how this works. You have to see things differently. So I hope you guys love this video. If you did, go ahead and please drop a like and subscribe, and I want to see you guys back again for tomorrow's video. As always, I love you guys. Peace.